There is a moment in almost every person's life that divides everything into two parts. The person you were before it happened, and the person you became after it. It doesn't arrive with a warning. One day you trust someone completely, you believe in a dream, you give your best to people, and you expect life to reward your honesty. Then, without asking for permission, something breaks. Maybe someone you loved walked away. Maybe people laughed at your biggest dream. Maybe you gave years of loyalty and received betrayal in return. Maybe you worked harder than everyone else, yet watched someone else receive the opportunity you deserved. At first, it feels unfair. You keep asking yourself, why me? You replay every conversation in your mind. You wonder if you could have done something differently. You lose sleep searching for answers that never seem to come. I understand that feeling because every person who has ever built something meaningful has experienced it. Success is not reserved for people who never get hurt. It belongs to those who discover how to continue after the hurt. The mistake most people make is believing that pain is their enemy. They spend all their energy trying to avoid disappointment, failure, rejection, or criticism. But life doesn't work that way. If you want to grow, pain will eventually knock on your door. The question is never whether you will experience it. The real question is what you will become because of it. I've noticed something interesting about people. Give two individuals the same painful experience, and you'll often see two completely different futures. One person allows the pain to become an excuse. They lose trust. They stop taking risks. They become angry at the world. Every new opportunity reminds them of an old failure. Slowly, they build invisible walls around themselves until they are no longer protecting their heart. They are imprisoning their future. The other person also cries. They also feel disappointed. They also question themselves. But after enough time, they make one powerful decision. They refuse to let the worst day of their life define the rest of it. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? They begin asking, what is this trying to teach me? That single change in perspective changes everything. You see, life has an unusual way of preparing people. Before it trusts you with greater responsibility, it often tests your character. Before you become stronger, you are placed in situations that reveal your weaknesses. Before you appreciate success, you experience failure. None of it feels enjoyable while you're living through it. But later you realize those difficult moments were shaping qualities that comfort never could. Think about metal being forged into a sword. It is heated until it glows, hammered repeatedly, and cooled over and over again. If the metal could speak, it would probably call the process suffering. But the blacksmith calls it preparation. In many ways, life treats us the same. Every challenge, every rejection, every betrayal is another strike of the hammer. It is not trying to destroy you. It is trying to remove everything weak so something stronger can emerge. The people who hurt you may never understand what they created. They believe they were ending your story. But they were unknowingly introducing you to a stronger version of yourself. The dream that collapsed forced you to think differently. The rejection that embarrassed you pushed you toward greater discipline. The betrayal that shattered your trust taught you the importance of wisdom. Looking back years later, you may even discover that the event you once hated became the reason you achieved something greater than you originally imagined. That doesn't mean you should pretend the pain never existed. It existed. It hurt. It changed you. But change itself is not the enemy. Sometimes the old version of you must disappear before the stronger version has room to grow. The person who believed everyone deserved unlimited access to their kindness learns boundaries. The person who depended on approval learns confidence. The person who feared failure learns resilience. One difficult season does not decide the rest of your life unless you allow it to. What truly shapes your future is the decision you make after the storm has passed. You can carry the weight forever, or you can carry the lesson. Those are two completely different choices, and they lead to two completely different lives. The day they broke you was not the day your story ended. It was the day your real transformation began. After you've been hurt, there is another battle that most people never talk about. The pain is obvious. But what quietly destroys people is the hope that one day the person who hurt them will finally understand what they did. You wait for a message. You imagine an apology. You picture them admitting they were wrong. Somewhere in your mind, you believe that if they simply said, "I'm sorry," everything inside you would finally feel complete. But life doesn't always give us that ending. One of the hardest lessons I have learned is that closure is rarely delivered by the people who created the wound. Many of them move on without looking back. Some never believe they did anything wrong. Others know exactly what they did but choose silence because admitting the truth would force them to face themselves. If your peace depends on their honesty, then your future is still in their hands. Think about that for a moment. The person who hurt you may already be living their life while you're still carrying yesterday on your shoulders. Every morning you wake up remembering what happened. Every new opportunity is compared to an old disappointment. Every relationship is judged by an old betrayal. Without realizing it, you've given someone from your past permission to control your present. That is too expensive. Never allow someone who no longer deserves a place in your life to continue occupying space in your mind. Your attention is one of your greatest assets. Whatever you continuously think about grows stronger. If you feed resentment every day, resentment becomes your personality. If you feed regret every day, regret becomes your future. The mind doesn't know the difference between a real battle and one you replay 1,000 times. Every memory you relive without purpose keeps the wound fresh. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. Many people think forgiving means saying that what happened was acceptable. It doesn't. Some actions are deeply unfair. Some words leave scars that last for years. Some betrayals change your life forever. Forgiveness is not pretending the damage never happened. Forgiveness is refusing to carry the damage for the rest of your life. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Every betrayal adds another stone. Every disappointment adds another. Every broken promise adds another. As the years pass, the weight becomes normal. You forget what it feels like to walk freely because you've been carrying pain for so long. The strange thing is that the people who placed those stones in your backpack are no longer carrying them. You are. At some point, wisdom asks a simple question. Who are you punishing by refusing to let go? The answer is almost always yourself. The strongest people I have met are not those who never experienced betrayal. They are the ones who decided that no painful experience would have the authority to define the rest of their lives. They stopped asking, when will they apologize? And started asking, what kind of person do I want to become now? That shift changes everything because it places your future back where it belongs, in your own hands. You cannot rewrite yesterday, but you have complete control over today. Every hour you spend waiting for someone else's apology is an hour stolen from building your own success. Every day spent wishing they understood your pain is a day you could have spent becoming wiser, healthier, stronger, and more confident. Sometimes the greatest victory is not proving someone wrong. Sometimes the greatest victory is reaching a point where you no longer need anything from them. Not their approval, not their regret, not their explanation, and not even their apology. There is incredible freedom in that moment. You stop chasing answers that may never come. You stop trying to win arguments that ended years ago. You stop carrying conversations that exist only in your imagination. Instead, your energy begins flowing toward your dreams, your family, your purpose, and the person you are becoming. Life rewards forward movement, not endless reflection. Learn from the past, but don't build your home there. Let the lessons stay, but let the bitterness leave. Protect your peace with the same determination you once protected your expectations, because peace is the foundation on which every meaningful success is built. The day you stop waiting for an apology is the day you finally take your life back. Once you stop waiting for an apology, something remarkable begins to happen. The energy that was trapped in anger, regret, and disappointment finally becomes available again. Now you have a choice. You can spend that energy reliving your scars, or you can invest it in building your strength. This is the point where many people separate themselves from the crowd. They discover that every scar has two possible meanings. It can become a permanent reminder of pain, or it can become permanent evidence of survival. I have always believed that experience is one of life's greatest teachers. The challenge is that experience rarely teaches through comfort. It teaches through mistakes. It teaches through failure. It teaches through moments when everything seems to fall apart. At first, these moments feel like punishment. Later, you realize they were preparation. Look back at your own life for a moment. Think about the lessons that truly changed you. Were they learned during easy days when everything was going your way? Probably not. The lessons you still remember today came from difficult conversations, painful disappointments, unexpected losses, and moments when you had no choice but to grow. Pain has a strange way of removing illusions. It forces you to see people more clearly. It forces you to understand yourself more honestly. It reveals strengths that comfort never asks you to develop. The problem is that many people become ashamed of their scars. They try to hide every failure, every rejection, every setback, as though these experiences make them weak. But weakness is not found in having scars. Weakness is refusing to learn from them. Every successful person you admire has invisible scars. The difference is that they stopped asking why life was difficult and started asking how those difficulties could make them wiser. Imagine climbing a mountain. Every step upward leaves your legs tired. Every obstacle demands more effort than the last. When you finally reach the top, nobody looks at the dust on your shoes and calls it failure. They see proof that you completed the journey. Life works the same way. Your scars are not signs that you lost. They are signs that you kept moving when many others would have stopped. One mistake should teach you better judgment. One betrayal should teach you stronger boundaries. One failure should teach you greater preparation. If the same pain keeps repeating itself, then life is not punishing you. It is repeating a lesson that has not yet been fully understood. The goal is never to avoid every mistake. The goal is to become someone who grows every single time a mistake happens. There is another reason your scars matter. They create humility. When success finally arrives, you appreciate it differently because you remember what it cost. You become kinder because you understand struggle. You become more patient because you know growth takes time. You become more grateful because you remember the days when nothing seemed to work. Those qualities cannot be purchased. They are earned through experience. People often admire confidence without realizing where genuine confidence comes from. Real confidence is not believing that nothing bad will ever happen again. Real confidence is knowing that even if life becomes difficult again, you have already survived enough to handle it. That kind of confidence cannot be given to you by another person. It is built one challenge at a time. Never waste your pain. If something hurt you, make sure it teaches you. If something disappointed you, let it sharpen your judgment. If something broke your heart, let it strengthen your character. Otherwise, the suffering becomes meaningless. Every difficult season should leave you with something valuable. Greater wisdom, deeper discipline, stronger patience, or clearer priorities. People may see only the success you eventually achieve, but they will never fully understand the battles that created it. They will notice your calmness without seeing the chaos you overcame. They will admire your discipline without witnessing the failures that forced you to develop it. That is perfectly fine. Your journey is not about convincing everyone else. It is about becoming someone you can respect every time you look in the mirror. Never be embarrassed by the chapters that tested you. Those chapters gave you the strength to write better ones. The person who has never struggled may have confidence, but the person who has survived struggle carries something even greater: quiet certainty. They no longer need to prove themselves to the world because they have already proven themselves during their hardest moments. Every scar becomes valuable the moment it stops reminding you of what you lost and starts reminding you of who you became. After you have learned from your scars, there is one responsibility that becomes more important than anything else. You must protect your mind. Many people think their greatest asset is their money, their education, their connections, or even their talent. Those things matter, but they all depend on one foundation. If your mind is weak, everything else becomes difficult to protect. If your mind is strong, even when life takes something away from you, you can build it again. Think about it. Every decision you make begins in your mind. Every habit starts as a thought. Every achievement first exists as an idea. That is why the people who succeed consistently are very careful about what they allow into their minds. They understand that a negative thought repeated every day eventually becomes a belief, and a belief repeated long enough becomes reality. When someone breaks your trust, the natural reaction is to become defensive. You tell yourself that you will never trust again. You build emotional walls so high that nobody can reach you. At first, this feels like protection, but over time, you realize that fear has quietly taken control. You are no longer making decisions because of wisdom. You are making them because of old wounds. There is a difference between protecting your heart and imprisoning it. Wisdom says, learn from the past. Fear says, live in the past. Wisdom creates healthy boundaries. Fear creates isolation. Wisdom helps you recognize danger. Fear makes you see danger everywhere. The challenge is learning how to protect yourself without allowing yesterday's pain to steal tomorrow's opportunities. Your mind is like a garden. Every day, something is growing inside it. If you plant discipline, gratitude, patience, and purpose, those qualities become stronger with time. But if you constantly feed resentment, comparison, doubt, and negativity, those grow just as quickly. Life doesn't always choose what enters your mind, but you choose what stays there. That is why discipline is not only about waking up early or working hard. Real discipline begins with your thinking. It is the ability to stop destructive thoughts before they become destructive actions. It is choosing to focus on solutions instead of excuses. It is refusing to let one bad experience convince you that every future experience will end the same way. I have seen people with incredible intelligence lose everything because they could not control their emotions. I have also seen ordinary people build extraordinary lives because they learn to stay calm under pressure. Emotional control is one of the greatest competitive advantages anyone can develop. When everyone else reacts, you remain steady. When everyone else complains, you continue working. When everyone else loses hope, you continue believing in your vision. Never underestimate the power of the people around you. The conversations you listen to every day slowly shape your thinking. Spend enough time with people who complain, and complaining starts to feel normal. Spend enough time with people who fear change, and you begin doubting every opportunity. Spend enough time with people who constantly improve themselves, and growth becomes your new standard. Protecting your mind also means protecting your time. Every unnecessary argument steals your focus. Every meaningless distraction steals your attention. Every hour spent proving yourself to people who have already decided to misunderstand you is an hour that could have been invested in becoming stronger. Not every battle deserves your energy. Some victories come from walking away. As you grow, you will notice something interesting. You no longer feel the need to respond to every criticism. You no longer chase everyone's approval. You become selective about where your attention goes because you understand that attention is one of the most valuable resources you have. Once it is wasted, you can never recover it. Remember, the strongest fortress is not built after the enemy arrives. It is built long before the attack begins. Your habits are that fortress. Your daily routines are that fortress. Your values are that fortress. Every good decision you make today prepares you for challenges that have not yet appeared. People may try to shake your confidence. Circumstances may test your patience. Unexpected setbacks may challenge your determination. But if your mind remains disciplined, focused, and grounded, you will always find a way forward. The world cannot permanently defeat a person who refuses to surrender control of their own thinking. Guard your mind, because the future you build will never rise higher than the thoughts you choose to protect. Once your mind becomes your greatest ally instead of your greatest obstacle, your focus naturally shifts. You stop thinking about proving people wrong, and you start thinking about proving yourself right. This is one of the biggest turning points in any person's life. There's a huge difference between living for revenge and living with purpose. Revenge gives you temporary energy. Purpose gives you lasting direction. Many people spend years trying to show others what they lost. They post, they argue, they compare, and they constantly seek recognition. On the surface, it looks like confidence. But deep inside, they are still asking for validation from the very people who once doubted them. That is a dangerous way to live, because your happiness remains connected to someone else's opinion. Real strength is much quieter than that. The most powerful response to betrayal is not a speech. It is not an argument. It is not even an explanation. It is a life so focused, so disciplined, and so meaningful that your success tells the story for you. Words can be questioned. Results cannot. Imagine two people who experience the same rejection. One spends the next 5 years talking about how unfair life has been. The other spends those 5 years improving their skills, reading books, learning new ideas, taking risks, building healthy habits, and becoming a better version of themselves every single day. When they meet again, they don't need to debate who made the better choice. Time has already answered the question. This is why consistency is one of the most underrated forms of power. Big achievements rarely happen because of one extraordinary day. They happen because ordinary days are repeated with extraordinary commitment. Wake up when you promised yourself you would. Finish the work even when nobody is watching. Keep learning when others become comfortable. Keep improving even after small victories. These quiet decisions may not impress people today, but they build a future that will surprise everyone tomorrow. There will always be people who underestimate you. Some will judge you based on your past. Others will remember the version of you that struggled and assume you have not changed. Let them. You do not need to interrupt their opinion with an explanation. Continue moving forward. Success has a unique ability to change conversations without saying a single word. One thing I have noticed is that people often overestimate what they can accomplish in a week and underestimate what they can accomplish in 5 years. They become impatient because results are not immediate. They plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. But meaningful success follows a different rhythm. It rewards patience, discipline, and persistence. Every small improvement compounds over time until one day people call you an overnight success. Even though you have been working quietly for years, do not become distracted by applause, and do not become discouraged by criticism. Both are temporary. If you rely on applause, you become afraid of silence. If you fear criticism, you become afraid of growth. Instead, build your confidence on something far more stable, your daily actions. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens your character. Every challenge you overcome increases your resilience. Every disciplined choice becomes another brick in the foundation of your future. Never compare your journey to someone else's timeline. Comparison steals focus. While you are looking sideways, you stop moving forward. The only comparison that truly matters is between the person you were yesterday and the person you are today. If you are becoming wiser, stronger, calmer, and more disciplined, then you are already succeeding, even if the world has not noticed yet. Remember, people are often attracted to visible success, but visible success is built upon invisible habits. Long before the awards, recognition, or achievements arrive, there are countless mornings of discipline, evenings of sacrifice, and moments when nobody believes in your vision except you. Those unseen moments are where greatness is quietly created. One day, the people who once doubted you may notice how much you have changed. They may wonder how you became so confident, so focused, and so resilient. They will see the results, but they will never fully understand the thousands of small decisions that created them. That is perfectly fine. Your goal was never to impress them. Your goal was to become someone whose life reflects discipline instead of excuses, purpose instead of resentment, and action instead of endless talk. When your success begins speaking louder than your pain, you know you have truly left the past behind. Now, after everything we have talked about, I want you to pause for a moment and think about the person you used to be. Think about the version of yourself that trusted everyone too easily. The version that believed hard work would always be rewarded immediately. The version that looked for approval before making a decision. The version that was afraid of rejection because it felt like the end of the world. That person was real. That person had good intentions. That person believed in people. But that person also had lessons to learn. Life did not destroy that version of you because it was weak. Life replaced it because your future demanded someone wiser. Many people spend years trying to become the person they once were. They say, I just want things to go back to how they used to be. But why would you want to go backward? Why would you want to become the same person who was unprepared for the challenges that life had already revealed? Growth is not about recovering your old self. It is about becoming someone your old self could never imagine. Every difficult season has been adding something valuable to your character. The disappointments taught you patience. The betrayals taught you discernment. The failures taught you resilience. The lonely moments taught you independence. The uncertainty taught you courage. None of these lessons were easy, but each one became another piece of the foundation you are standing on today. The world often celebrates visible victories, but the greatest victory happens quietly. It happens when you stop allowing your past to control your future. It happens when your confidence no longer depends on compliments. It happens when criticism no longer shakes your direction. It happens when you wake up each morning with a purpose that is stronger than your fear. This is the transformation that truly matters. People may still remember the old version of you. They may expect you to react the same way. They may believe they still understand your limits because they knew who you were years ago. Let them believe it. Never waste your energy explaining how much you have changed. Continue growing in silence. Eventually, your decisions, your discipline, your calmness, and your results will introduce them to someone they have never met before. One of the greatest mistakes we can make is allowing one painful chapter to become the title of our entire life story. Remember, a chapter is not the whole book. It is only one part of the journey. Every successful person has chapters filled with disappointment, uncertainty, and struggle. What makes their story inspiring is not the absence of pain, but the refusal to stop writing. There will still be challenges ahead. Life does not promise that you will never experience another setback. There may be new failures, unexpected obstacles, and moments when your confidence is tested again. But this time, something is different. You are different. You have learned that setbacks are temporary. You have learned that emotions do not have to control decisions. You have learned that discipline is stronger than motivation. You have learned that peace is more valuable than revenge. Most importantly, you have learned that your identity is not determined by what happens to you, but by how you respond to it. That understanding gives you a quiet confidence that cannot be purchased and cannot be taken away. It is not loud. It does not need attention. It simply continues moving forward regardless of circumstances. While others become discouraged by temporary difficulties, you remember everything you have already survived. Every challenge you overcame becomes evidence that you are capable of overcoming the next one as well. As you continue your journey, never carry bitterness with you. Carry wisdom. Never carry fear. Carry preparation. Never carry regret. Carry experience. Those are the things that transform pain into power. They become your greatest advantage because they allow you to face tomorrow with clearer vision and stronger character. One day you will look back at everything that once seemed impossible to survive, and instead of feeling anger, you will feel gratitude. Not because the pain was pleasant, but because it introduced you to a version of yourself that could never have been created through comfort alone. So keep walking with confidence, keep building with patience, keep learning with humility, keep moving with purpose. The people who once underestimated you may never fully understand your transformation, and they do not need to. Your responsibility is not to convince the world that you have changed. Your responsibility is to continue becoming the person your future deserves. They broke you once, but they will never meet that version of you again.